What's going on, beautiful people? Thank you for tuning in and watching. I love and appreciate every single one of you guys. And today we have a really interesting video, really interesting conversation about schizophrenia. Okay? And I've never personally had schizophrenia, but I have a very close friend of mine that had schizophrenia, and he probably is watching this video. He watches all my videos. I love you, bro, and I can't wait for when I want to bring you on the videos, right? I've told you this before, so of course I'm not gonna mention your name or anything, but whenever you want to be on the videos, please, I want you to share your experience with the world, because you have a very unique experience. He's like a brother to me, he is. And he calls me, I don't know when this was, a few years back, and says, "You gotta come here to this hospital. You just gotta come. I tried to commit suicide." And this guy is one of the smartest, oh, one of the best people you'll ever meet. One of the most intelligent, one of the most well-grounded, incredible guy. And then he's like, "I almost committed suicide." Now, prior to him telling me about that, I didn't even have an idea or a clue that he had schizophrenia. I didn't, because the guy was so well behaved in normal society. He's a very smart guy. I had no idea. His friend, he was about to jump off the bridge, and his friend came last minute and saved him. And then they called the hospital. He went to the hospital. They took him to the hospital where they keep all these mental patients, right? People with schizophrenia and other things. So I've had direct experience with that, somebody that is very close to me. And then I have an aunt who still is schizophrenic. And we had a conversation. I'll tell you guys about the conversation me and her had. But basically, all my family thinks she's crazy. We all, like, you know what I mean? They give her pills, medicines, whatever. And I used to think she's crazy, right? Because that's just, mental illness, she's got a problem here, right? Until I had a very interesting conversation with her a few months back. Anyway, we'll come up with this conversation. But I was very interested in schizophrenia because it's happening firsthand in my life. I'm seeing people very close to me. And so, until didn't make too much of it. I thought, I was under the impression, okay, this is just a mental illness. It happens to certain people, certain individuals. It is what it is. Give them meds. It's all good. And then I came across Terence McKenna's work. That's when I was doing a lot of psychedelics. Not that I'm off that shit, but I had a period where I was really going heavy trips, right? Heroic doses. And I was consuming Terence McKenna's content like wildfire. I was just listening to Terence McKenna. So he says he was a schizophrenic growing up. Now, Terence McKenna is a psychonaut, someone who's experimented a lot with psychedelics throughout his life. Has very interesting, wacky theories about lots of things. Anyway, so he was a schizophrenic growing up. And then I came across this video, and he says that schizophrenia is misdiagnosed shamanism. That all shamans are schizophrenic. And I was like, wow, that is interesting. Let me take a more look into this idea. Well, let's follow the thought process here. Let's follow what Terence is saying. And the idea is that shamans are the healers in the tribe, right? The intermediates between the spiritual world and the physical world, between dimensions. They bridge dimensions. So the idea is that, any schizophrenic person would tell you we keep hearing voices and seeing things, seeing imaginary friends or foes most of the time. And we'll talk about that, man. There's a lot of things we're gonna talk about here. So a lot of schizophrenics would tell you we see we hear voices telling us like bad things, and we see imaginary people, entities, and they're usually negative, and they tell them like, go kill yourself, blah blah blah. My friend told me the reason why he wanted to commit suicide because he kept hearing voices telling him to kill himself. So we think of it in our modern reductionist, materialistic, scientific worldview. This is imaginary. This is not a real thing. This is, we gotta give them pills. It's the brain is fucking up and it's giving them these imaginary things. They're not real. They don't exist. But according to Terence McKenna, and later on with my conversations with people who had schizophrenia, and like I said, I want to bring my friend here whenever he's ready to share his story. What is actually going on is that you have access to other dimensions. You're not crazy. You're not seeing things that don't exist. You're more sane than all of us. You have a broader perspective on reality. You see reality from a higher state of consciousness. And so, as someone who has schizophrenia, you have the privilege and the honor and the curse to have access to other dimensions. Now, shamans usually all have schizophrenia, and they didn't look at it as a mental illness, or they didn't even have a name for it, schizophrenia. Simply put, when they saw that you were able to talk to other entities and have like these superpowers when it comes to like being in touch with other dimensions, they took you to shaman school right away. You know, from a young age. Oh, this person's gonna be the next shaman in our tribe. He's gonna be the next healer. They took you, you got out of the village, you got your training, you become, you use psychedelic medicines, whatever, and then that's it. You come back to the tribe, and now you're like, I am the bridge, I am the intermediate, I am here to help my community, and I'm the bridge, the intermediate between this lower dimension, this physical dimension, and higher dimensions. And that clicked in my mind automatically, and here's why. When I heard all of this and I thought it through, it clicked so well in my mind, because when I am tripping balls in the woods on 5 grammars, one of those heroic doses, I am schizophrenic. There is no other way to put it. I am schizophrenic. And you guys just go watch my trip reports, okay? Watch the one 6 grams. It's 31 minutes, right? Just type in Saeed Mobayed, mushroom trip 6 grams. Watch that one. It's like 31 minutes, right? And I talk about it in details. I'm walking around in the woods. It's 9:30 at night. I'm talking to trees. I'm talking to the river. There was a river there. I'm talking to the moon. It was a full moon. I'm sitting down on a rock and I'm talking to some entities are talking to me and telling me things, and I'm discussing back with them, and I'm hearing all these voices telling me we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and I'm like telling them, am I a spirit? Am I a soul? And they're talking to me and they're telling me things. I am just as good as a schizophrenic. And if somebody was to see me, I mean, this was 9:30 at night, nobody there. It was a March, winter still, very cold night. But if somebody was to see me, they would think I belong in the mental institution. They would think I belong in a mental institution. This is not a normal person. This is not a functioning, this is a crazy person who lost his marbles, and he's now in the woods talking to things, If you saw me in the woods, if somebody came and saw me, they would probably call the cops or something, say there's a crazy person, we need you to take them to the mental institution, they need help, right? I was as good as a schizophrenic. So then it made sense to me. What if people who are schizophrenic are just, their brain works in a way that it's always high on psychedelics, for lack of better terms, just to put things into more context. What if their brain worked in such a way that they're always accessing these different frequencies in these different realms, and they're always talking to entities and always having contact with the spirit world? It clicked in my mind right away, because based on experience, well, when I'm fucking loaded on 5 grams of mushrooms, I am as good as a schizophrenic. So and you can't tell me this is not real. You can't tell me you're imagining shit. This is more real than real life. This is more real than what we think here in this society is real. What happens on a 5 grammer. That is the real shit, okay? And I thought, okay, then that makes sense. Then they're really gifted people that we call crazy because we don't understand what they're going through. They're gifted people who have access to both dimensions, both realms. So, 2 things I want to talk about. First thing first, I had to confirm this for myself from now personal experience. 5 grammars, I'm as good as a schizophrenic, believe me. If you've done a 5 grammer, you're as good as a schizophrenic. But I had to talk to people that I know that had it. So, I talked to my friend, bro, please, as soon as possible, I want to have you in my videos. I want you to share your experience, man. I tell you a bazillion times, you have a very unique life. Share it with the world, please. So, my friend, I talked to him, my friend is now like off meds, off everything. He's got a job, everything. He's normal, right? Normal. And I tell him, what do you think? I sent him the video. I tell him, you had schizophrenia. You called me. You could try to commit suicide. You're a very smart guy. I trust you. I never even knew you had schizophrenia. Tell me what you think of this. And he's like, this is 100% accurate. This is 100% accurate. What I had is he told me that if I feel like I could be a shaman, and he has incredible psychic abilities. Incredible. He's got a beautiful story, man. And he's like, I feel like I'm a shaman inside. I feel like I am a healer. I feel like in past lives I could have been a healer. I was a shaman, right? And he told me everything that Terence McKenna talks about, all this theory about shamans being schizophrenic. He told me, I confirm. Like everything didn't feel imaginary. It felt real. It felt like I was having contact with other entities, with other spirits, with other realms and other dimensions. He confirmed it to me. Then, out of the blue, my aunt calls me, right? My aunt, God bless you. And my aunt is a very interesting person because all of us thought she was crazy. And, there was, talk about her walking in the streets and talking to things and blah, 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 right? My aunt calls me out of the blue. This was back in October, I think. Yeah, something like that, right? And she watched some of my videos on this channel. And she's like, oh my God, you're incredible. Like, I am so proud of you. You're so amazing. And she doesn't talk to the extended family, all the family anymore, because they think she's crazy, blah, blah, blah. And she told me, she's like, I don't believe in any mental illness exists. She's like, I am not mentally ill. I have contact with other realms. I talk to spirits. I talk to entities. I have, and no one believed me, and the family doesn't believe me. No one believes me because nobody understands this. But she's so happy that finally someone is able to understand her, right? And she saw my trips, my mushroom trips, and she's absolutely in awe. Like, she's like, oh my God, like someone in the family, finally I can talk to about this stuff, that can understand me. And she told me, I'm not crazy. I talk to spirits. They talk to me all the time, she was just relieved. And I think she's coming here in June, so I'm gonna meet her and have a chat with her. And who knows, maybe bring her in the videos. And she told me, finally, like, somebody understands me in the family. I'm not crazy. No, I am sane. I am just, these entities talk to me. I hear them. They come to me in my dreams. They come to me in my prayers. I can talk to them right away. I can channel them, right? And yeah, I talked to her right away and I said, so what do you think about this? So, I've heard this theory that schizophrenia is just shamanism and blah, blah. And I explained to her what shamanism is, and she understood me right away. She understood my terms. And then she told me, how did you come up with all these ideas? I told her, well, there's this beautiful thing called mushrooms. You take it and it opens up your mind, opens up your perception, and reveals your soul to you. So she told me she's going to look into it, and I don't know what happened since then. I haven't talked to her. I hope to talk to her soon and maybe have a trip with her at some point. That would be hilarious. But I got this confirmation from people that I know personally, right? That this schizophrenia is a shamanism. They're not crazy. They're more sane than all of us. They know more about reality, and they have a higher consciousness than all of us. Now, then you might be now left with a question is, okay, if they have a higher consciousness and they can talk to entities and spirits and blah, 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 why is it that all of them have a bad experience? Why is it that all of them have a negative experience? And like your friend tried to commit suicide, and usually that's how schizophrenics are. They try to kill themselves. They go crazy. I have a friend of my brother's, really good guy, amazing guy. He had schizophrenia also, and he used to like hold his mom by the neck and like because as a schizophrenic, you're open to spirit. Now, here's the thing. The reason why most of schizophrenics, almost all schizophrenics in the modern world, have a terrifying negative experience is because we live in cities. And cities are the perfect place for negative entities, for lack of better terms, demonic entities, to dwell. You see what I'm saying? It's so the entities, like my friend used to walk in downtown. Downtown here in the city that I live in is a fucking mess. If there are any demonic entities, it is there, right? And he used to tell me this bench over there was like an entity there, always sitting there, always telling me, you're never gonna amount to anything, you're a piece of shit, this and this. And I'm looking and I'm like, no wonder, look at this fucking place. It's negative as fuck. So this is now me talking. What I think is going on with all these schizophrenics having like a really bad experience and being possessed literally by some sort of demons, by some sort of negativity, negative entities, right? Is civilization that we created right now, modern civilization, modern society is pathological. It is sick. So then within the city, what are you going to find? You're going to find these negative entities, that feed off the negative energy, right? And resulting in of course, we have so many childhood traumas and problems. So we're attracting in the ways we live, in these pathological ways that we live in, pathological society, the sick society, we attract negative entities into the city. We attract negative spirits, right? So the schizophrenics, modern schizophrenics, live in this society, live in this sick society. And so they access these negative entities because in the form of thoughts, in the form of possession, right? And what it used to be with the shamans is as soon as they realize somebody needs help, or sorry, somebody's got the potential to be a healer, they took you out of the village so you don't have any sort of input from anybody else, and they trained you in the ways how to access the positive spirits, the healing spirits in the middle of Mother Nature, right? Another thing, so we talked about there being negative entities, there being negative spirits, right? I lost my, here, give me a second. Yes, I remembered. The other reason why schizophrenics in the modern world have a bad experience and terrifying experience of suicide, goes as far as suicide, right? Is we tell them that you guys are crazy. We tell them that you guys are imagining things. We tell them that you're not living in the real world. We essentially shit on their version of reality because we have this concrete, materialistic version of reality, right? So we put them in mental institutions, right? And we tell them you're crazy. You're seeing things, you imagine things, you imagine voices. Because we don't understand it. We are so materialistic and reductionist in our worldview. We don't understand the higher picture, the greater reality, right? So we tell them that. So imagine somebody keeps telling you, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. You're going to start to think of yourself, and you're not normal, right? You're going to start to think of yourself as like a crazy, abnormal person, right? That's what's going to happen. So that adds up. Your self-image now in the society is, I am a freak, I am hideous, I am don't belong to the society, right? Which you don't, right? But now everybody's telling you don't belong and pointing fingers at you and calling you crazy. Yeah, that's going to affect your self-image, and that's going to make you even a more of a conduit to negative energies, right? Because of negative thoughts. This is why almost all modern schizophrenics have a really terrifying experience, because they're such conduits for spirit, and they become such conduits for negative spirits to come into them and talk to them through thoughts and possess them, through their body and their mind. It's very, very important to understand this. This is crucial. We are putting the healers or we're labeling the healers of our society. We're labeling the gifted people. They're so gifted. We're labeling them as crazy, and we're not understanding that they're way more sane than all of us, because they can access both worlds. And what we gotta do is we gotta recognize this. We gotta recognize this is what's happening. And we gotta use the power of the shamans that we have in this world right now, and they're still out there. They're still out there. We gotta use the power and the wisdom of the shamans that we have in this world, and there's a lot of them. They're out there to help us scientifically look at this and no longer stigmatize it, no longer see it as a mental illness, but instead recognize the reality for what it is, which is way more than this physical matter dimension that we think. And by understanding that reality is not what we all thought it was, then we can have an actual conversation with schizophrenics, right? Where we can be like, well, you guys are actually the gifts. You guys are the healers of the society, and we want to help you. Help us, because look at us. We're a sick society. We're a pathological society, and we could use some help. And I think we all choose our roles in this life for a reason. I think the people who come in here and choose to have schizophrenia, they're sent here by a higher power to be the healers and the bridge between upper worlds and lower worlds, right? Shamanism is very interesting. I'm looking into it as of late, and they have the concept that they have like 8 or 9 dimensions, and there's upper world, middle world, lower world. It's incredible things. And we gotta use the shamans that we have right now to help us. We gotta look at them now and say, we need your help. As a society, we need your help. Look, because there's a bunch of people with schizophrenia out there, right? You probably know someone with schizophrenia, or who had schizophrenia, or you know someone who knows someone. There's a lot of healers out there right now. There's a lot of people with serious potential healing. And I could never understand it without having done 5 grams of mushrooms and going out into the woods and becoming schizophrenic myself for 5 hours. Because that's what it was, really. Those strips that I would have, 5 grammers, by myself in the woods, that's 5 hours of schizophrenia right there for you. That's 5 hours of schizophrenia. And you know something? I microdose LSD right now, and every fucking day that I microdose, those first 3 hours that I'm microdosing, I am talking to myself, but I'm talking out loud. It's almost like I'm talking to something else, you see? So even now, with the use of psychedelics in my life regularly, I find myself talking to other things without even being aware that I'm talking to them, right? Schizophrenia is not a disease. Schizophrenia is not a mental illness. Schizophrenia is a gift. Schizophrenia is a gift. And hopefully if you have schizophrenia and you watch this video, recognize this. I want you to recognize you're the gift, you're the healer. We need you. We need you in the society. And you need to understand that you have a great role to play in the society, right? So anyway, that's where I'm going to finish off the video. I definitely want to bring in my friend to tell you guys about his experience. I will send him this video if he hasn't watched it, and hopefully he steps up soon. Leave him comments urge him in the comments, urge him right now, bro, please share. We want to hear your experience, okay? And we'll see also my aunt as I get to meet her this summer. I'm gonna go after this topic because I don't know why. I just feel like I have an urge to, because I feel like there's serious potential people with serious potential healing gifts to the world that are being completely misdiagnosed and completely lost, right? That's it. God bless you all, guys. I love every single one of you. You're all amazing beings. I love every single one of you, but don't forget to subscribe or you're gonna sleep with the fishes.